Hey, everybody. My name is Peter Preston, and this is Marketplace Growth by Accoil. Now, you may notice that I'm flying solo this week. Kate is on holidays, so I'm hijacking the topic this week, and I'm going to talk about 3 ways that I like to get ready for in-person events where we are not sponsoring. And we do go to a lot of events. We used to sponsor a lot of these things, so we'd always show up with a booth. But if you're showing up as an attendee and you've got something to sell still, there are great ways that you can make it a really valuable experience for you. So I'm going to share 3 ways that I like to get ready for those events to make sure that we make an impact, regardless of whether or not we have a booth. First thing I like to do is answer the question, who else is going? And I'll, of course, look at the speaker list. I'll see who is on the stage when. I'll look at who's sponsoring the booths and which companies those are. Do I know anybody there? Should I reach out to them and just say hi? And just a quick side note, if you do have friends that are sponsoring, I like to take the approach of trying not to schedule anything, put anything concrete on the calendar. They're going to be super busy, hopefully, that day, that week, whatever it is. And so I just like to take the approach of, hey, I'll stop by the booth. If we can sneak away for a beer or a coffee at some point or after the event, that's fantastic. But, putting anything on the calendar may get in the way of them doing business, which is why they're sponsoring the booth in the first place. So I like to look at who's going to see what kind of connections I can make ahead of time. Of course, often we'll put up posts on LinkedIn just to say, hey, I'm going, anyone in the area, let's connect. And that's a great way to get conversations started with other people that are going. And also just reaching out directly one-on-one. Do I know anybody in that city that's potentially going to this event? Reaching out, saying hi. And what I find often happens is if I'm connecting with friends who live in, say, Sydney, Australia, going to an event there, they may not personally be going, but a friend of a friend may be, and you end up with some really cool connections that way. So the number one thing that I do is look at who's going and who can I connect with while I'm there. Number 2 is brand up. Now, even if I'm not sponsoring a booth, I still like to go in some sort of attire, whether it be a hat, t-shirt, socks, pants, whatever, that speak to the brand. And the reason is, if you're going to these events, you're going to learn, you're going to meet people, but of course, you're also going to be seen. So I like to take the approach of having something maybe a little bit provocative, not risque, but something that can help start a conversation with people or might get someone to come up and talk to you, almost like you're a walking billboard. And that, my friends, is foreshadowing for what comes later. Number 3, I like to play the host too. So just because we're not sponsoring the event, because we aren't sponsoring any sort of official happening around the event, like a happy hour or coffee cart or something like that, it doesn't mean we can't actually just host something ourselves. And depending on where the events are, there's usually somewhere, at least a room, a bar, a cafe, something, some place where you can go and invite others to come and join you. Now, personally, I like to keep it nice and casual, no real banners everywhere, pitchy stuff. It's just sponsor the night, let people have fun, build connections, because that's really what matters at these events, is not necessarily what you go in with, but it's what you come out with. And establishing these connections across the ecosystem is so important. And if you have a way to do that on a smaller scale by inviting someone, say a solution partner or another marketplace partner or a potential customer to an event that you're hosting, keep it easy, keep it simple. Let them come, let them get to know you, have fun, and then, off we go. You've made a new friend, potentially a business connection. There's a 4th thing. I haven't tried it. I did hint at it before, though, when I said foreshadowing and talking about clothing, and that is walking billboards. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but you can actually hire people to strap big billboards on their back and march around the entrance or exit of the events that you're not sponsoring. So I figure, if I'm not sponsoring the inside, I can certainly make it look like I'm sponsoring the outside. And what better sort of choke point is there than the entrance or the exit of a venue, but to get people's attention on the message that you have for them? And my thinking is, if you have a nice bold message with bold colors, you can get their attention, use a QR code, send them off to a landing page, give them something special following the link. And I just think it's an exciting way to get in front of people. So I'm really looking forward to trying that. Keep your eyes open for something like that at some of these Atlassian events coming up. So those are 4 ways that I go about preparing for in-person events where we are not sponsoring. So looking up who's going to be there, reaching out ahead of time, If you have only a week left before your next live event, you still have time to make those connections. So build a list, check it twice, reach out to everybody, and certainly play nice. I didn't mean to rhyme with all that, but there you go. Second thing was to brand up. Go in some sort of branded attire that draws people's attention to you and gives them something nice to remember about you and your brand. Number 3 was to play the host too. Just because you're not sponsoring doesn't mean you can't host your own event that's somewhere near where the main event is taking place. And of course, number 4, walking billboards. I haven't tried it, but I bet it's a great way to spend a little bit of cash to make a really big splash at one of these events. Last thing I'll say before I go is that if you have any questions about growing your Atlassian marketplace business, please leave them in the comments below or hit me up on DM on LinkedIn. I'm happy to answer as best I can. And if it's something that we can turn into a video, we will. So whether it be tactics, strategies, connections, anything like that, please ask away. We're here to help. Talk soon. You should make fun of me for rhyming twice in one video.